across the strategy groups, namely the strategy group 2. Yeah. So women scientists working in the field is very close to my heart because we're so underrepresented. As we embark on a historic expedition to Ponker Glacier at Manam, I just have a couple of, how do I say, very hands-on tips to offer from inequality and inclusion perspective, especially from safeguarding perspective. Yes, safeguarding is also in your concept node, but here we're talking about safeguarding from really gender equality and social inclusion perspective. Really social science lens, can I say the glass? Not from physical science. Physical science, I understand that you have tips about mountaineering and health and safety and your gear, etc. Right? So with this, we'll move on. Moving on, please feel free to stop at any time, raise your hand or shout it out for questions. Be happy to answer. I'm also mindful of the question that one a young colleague from Tuva from Pakistan raised yesterday. Yes. So I'm mindful of that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so safeguarding BLEC mode. We also, if you look at our core values of EC mode, because we're working across Hindu Kush Himalayas, across 8 countries, different culture, different civilization, different languages, beliefs, etc. So we're very inclusive society, sorry, organization. We are also, by inclusion, we're talking also about just not the gender dynamics aspect, also inclusive in terms of ethnicity, language, etc. This is why this organization is very interesting. We are multicultural, multi-talented. We also, this is why yesterday I learned to say Assalamu alaikum in Urdu and Namaste in the Hindi word, and Namaste also for the Nepali colleagues, and Kusuzampula for us Bhutanese. And of course, hello to Miriam once again. Yeah. Yeah. Also, Niha, you know what? I qualify for Chinese. Yeah. A lot of people in the street Nepal, they actually told me whether I was Korean and Chinese or Japanese. So it's very interesting how we Asians look alike, right? Yeah. So as EC mode, we're talking about safeguarding. We're talking also about proactively preventing and responding to all forms of sexual harassment, also responding to all forms of exploitation, especially emotional abuse, sexual abuse at workplace, including field. This is why I'm here. Because EC mode, we're working with various communities across mountain communities. We also work across different countries and culture. This is why we're talking about really, when we work with people in the community, we have zero tolerance policy against harassment. When you're working with community, I'm sure you work in your field, you come across different people, children, adults, your partners in the field, local people that you might meet and talk to, right? So they all so we also, here we're also talking about safeguarding these people. Safeguarding at the 2 levels, not only safeguarding ourselves as young girls, young ladies, this is all women urban expedition. So I'm confident that you may not face any harassment. But if you look at the research, the current research, women, young scientists like yourself, would be scientists that face harassment in the field. From, of course, the male colleagues, from also your own partner. So this is why it's so important to first safeguard yourself, right, against harassment, against exploitation and abuse. And of course, safeguard your partners that you work with, local communities that you work with, right? In this case, you might meet your local people in Manam or in Ponker Glacier. Yeah. So at EC mode, we're very serious about it. So we talk about 3 core things in safeguarding. We're talking about anti-sexual harassment. That's one. We are, as I was saying, we say no to harassment in all forms. Okay. Number 2, we're talking about child safeguarding. If you look at international organizations, there are also cases that are employees of organizations also exploited children that we work with, right? So we're very serious because we're also talking about the child rights in this day and age. So if a child which is across 18 years and below, okay, they're all children, so we're talking about also safeguarding them. If you ever work with them, but in this case you're not going to work, so don't worry about it. But just sort of, yeah, sharing some of the information VATC mode, which it stands for, and protecting from sexual exploitation and abuse. As I was saying, here we're talking about not just physical harassment, but also about emotional harassment. Okay, we're also talking about For example, you're talking also about making, people in community, your partners, if they make any uncalled for advances, physical advances, non-verbal advances, etc., then completely no to that. So safeguarding tends at that as well. As I was saying earlier, the last bit is zero tolerance, which is no to all form any of this kind. We no to that. At the moment, we are in the process of really launching this policy. We're almost done with the policy. So once this policy comes through, there will be this how do I say, implementation, which means we're going to be serious about it. But our standing human resource policy also talks about zero tolerance against harassment. Right? So we will move on. And moving on, we're talking about again, if you look at research, it's always women. We as young women, most importantly, it's always women. We are differently impacted by safeguarding harms and proportionally, which means young girls and women, we are affected more in the field. For example, there's also the Neuroscience Union. I read the scientists at work, or they also face harassment. For example, a male colleague will suddenly say, okay, you're a woman, you're not allowed to handle this equipment and grab it and take it away from you. That is also, exploitation in terms of not respecting you, right? We're talking about that sort of. So this is why young girls and women, they need to be more careful. I'll tell a story. When I was doing my PhD 10 years ago in Australia, one of my roommates she was a tea plant scientist, tea tree. The tea tree perfume is so famous, right? Also tea tree oil, yeah. So she was from Thailand, and young upcoming scientist, is now a professor, yeah. So her field was really tough. It wasn't mountains, but her field was subtropical, hot temperature, like 40 degrees Celsius, very hot, and her field was filled with snakes, scary snakes, python and cobra. So her safeguard, in terms of gear, she had to wear snake guard. Snake guard, she had, of course, a field gear, then she had heavy equipment, scientific tested this. If the snake bites, it will not get in there, the poison will not get in there, and she'll be okay, right? But then the issue with her is, when she was working with all male scientists, and she was the only woman scientist, so it's very hard to, especially if you want to actually, if you want to go to Lu, like in the forest, right? Subtropical forest. So she just could not, she had no confidence. At the same time, she went alone, then, of course, first of all, removing layers of gear, and secondly, to actually be women a bit sexually different. So actually to relieve yourself in the forest is quite a challenge, right? It's a small activity but challenging. So then she had to wear adult napkin, so then she didn't have to remove her gear, and then she would be also guarding her harm from not just not comfortable with the male colleagues, but also from the snakes. So that's sort of a thing I'm talking about. But here you're going to the mountains, women, all the women, your friends, our ISIMO teams, all the team members are also young, energetic women, so it won't be like that. But otherwise, there are stories like that, case stories and also evidence. Yeah, around the world also, I think if you look at the population, in Asia, it's about 30% women scientists, including cryoscientists. So very low. Asia is a huge continent, right? Even in Hindu Kush Himalaya, we're talking about big China, big India, right? Big Bangladesh, right? These countries also this very, very low representation of women scientists. As a result, the visibility of women and protection for women is low. Yesterday I was talking with Pamela and she said, all organizers were women, all the participants are men, right? And then, yeah, so women are organizers because women are proactive. You also could get into big projects and you're organizing, but then look at the participants. So this is where again, so girls, women and girls, we have to be up, we have to be proactive, forward thinking, taking your own initiative and safeguarding yourself, right? Okay. So then, transcending beyond gender stereotype, I directly answered the question that Tuba raised yesterday. Tuba from Pakistan, right? No, so what is gender? Oh, yeah, Tuba. The question that she raised, just so that everybody, I think, is it okay to ask, tell everybody, share everybody, so that we all are educated, right? The question that she raised yesterday was, she said, what is gender? You said, I don't understand gender, right? Is it okay?
Yeah, I never understand the term
Yeah.
and what it encompasses.
Okay. Yeah.
But now it's getting a little clear.
Oh, thank you, Tuba. And which part of Pakistan are you from?
Lahore.
Oh, from Lahore. Okay. So yeah, towards that, what is gender? So it's very important. I'm sure many of you know, but those of you who, I mean, for those of you who read about it, know about it, it is a sweet reminder. For those of you we are grappling with the terminology for the first time, for example, okay, I'll ask maybe I'll take Prema's example. So Prema, when you grew up, how did your mom raise you or dad raise you? Did you have any siblings?
I have two elder brothers.
Okay, sure, good. Your two older brothers. Are you the only daughter?
Yeah.
Okay, so how did your parents raise you?
So at least in my family,
Yeah.
my parents didn't like discriminate me with my brothers.
Yeah.
So they gave me like equal opportunity of education and everything
Yeah.
till now.
Yeah.
Actually, they are more proud of me than my brothers.
Okay.
They always say that whenever I travel, they
Yeah.
are like carefree. They will be like, "Oh, people will get there."
Yeah.
But then like, whenever my brothers travel,
Yeah.
they are so worried, you know.
Oh.
Because like I hope they don't get stuck in the airport and all. But
Okay.
for me, they were
Yeah.
like, "Ah, go." If I say that I want to go to like
Yeah.
let's say Everest, also they'll be
Yeah.
like, "Ah, go, you can do it."
Ah,
But then
okay.
like if it's my brothers, then they'll be like, "Don't go."
Okay. Thank you so much. It's an inspiring story. Wonderful. Yeah. I think I exception more than its typical case. Okay, we go to Pakistan.
Yeah.
To Hunza. Yeah. What about you? Farina.
Farhana.
Farhana.
Yes.
Farhana. What about you? How were you raised? And do you have any brother?
Yeah, we have 10 siblings.
Oh, you have
I
10. Oh, you're
yeah.
10. Oh, wow. Yeah. That's got a.
I am in first.
Oh, you're the oldest, right?
Yeah.
So how did your parents raise you and your brother?
Yeah. Because I want to say that I am the first girl in my family who
Yeah.
educate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am the first lady who educate MPhil.
Yeah.
Now I will, inshallah, I will do PhD.
Oh.
Though, so my parents say you will go, you can do, and my teacher also, you Farhana will do, you can do. And so he also support me.
Oh, okay.
So they also support me, my family also,
Yeah.
my brother also.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm coming here.
Wow. Yeah.
I think on
Okay, thank
family
you.
level, things are changing.
Okay.
On social level, it will take a time.
Sure. Social levels will take a time. Otherwise, it's changing, right?
Yeah.
Congratulations, your parents are very kind,
Yeah, yeah.
and raised very well. I mean,
Yes.
both boys and
Yes.
girls. But quickly, before I move on, quickly, I like to ask this. Do you have a notepad? Yeah, you have a notepad and pen, right? Otherwise I can spare some paper. All right, could you please write, without discussing with anybody individually, could you please reflect on the role of girl and boy or man and woman? Could you please write one attribute, a trait? When you think about a man, what comes to your mind? First of all, when you think about a man, right? Right? A typical trait, a characteristic of a man. Yeah, first that, right? Okay. Everybody get set, go. This is a typical characteristic of a man. Okay? Yeah. Reflect. Do not discuss with your friend. Right? We start here. Thank you. Now, could you please reflect about a woman? When you think about a woman or a girl, what kind of thought comes to your mind? A trait, a characteristic for a girl or a woman? Could you please write? 1, 2, 3, ladies. Yeah, right. Okay. Thank you. Looks like you're done. Otherwise, you can just figure it out. Don't worry. It's not an exam. It's just, we're having fun. Let's have fun. Yeah. All right. Anybody, would you like to share? First of all, what did you write for man? Anybody? Masculine. And then?
Responsible.
Responsible for a man.
Mm,
Okay, never mind.
I've written more stronger.
Stronger,
Physically.
responsible, muscular, and?
Yeah, stronger.
Stronger? Brave. Okay. Carefree. Okay, good. Interesting. What about for women? What did you write for women? Come on.
Brave.
Brave. Oh, good.
Nurturer.
Nurturer.
Caring.
Caring.
Insist.
Insist.
Caring.
Caring. Caring. Brave. Oh, okay.
Gentle.
Gentle.
someone who has breast.
Gentle and someone who has breast. Sorry. Feminine. Okay, right now. Can a man be a nurturer? Can a man be a nurturer?
Yes.
Some men do.
Some men can.
Yeah.
Some men are not. Right. Okay. So also are all women nurturing?
Yeah.
Are all women nurturing?
Yeah.
No. Actually, good. I'll ask you why. Why aren't all women nurturers?
I think, wow, put me on the spot.
I just want to show you.
Not everybody, and